Here's the latest on the developing situation. All times Eastern. Please refresh this page for updates. New York City's health department reported Sunday that the city has 64,955 confirmed coronavirus cases, an increase of 4,105 over the last 24 hours, as New York remains the epicenter of the pandemic in the U.S. As of Sunday evening, the city had 2,472 COVID-19 related fatalities and 14,205 hospitalizations, the health department said. The majority of the cases, 21,781, were in Queens, while Manhattan had the fewest number, 9,251, according to the data. The NYPD said that one more of its members has passed away from the coronavirus. Auxiliary Police Sergeant Angel Leon, who had been with the force for more than 38 years, died on Saturday, the department said. A total of 1,843 uniformed members and 274 civilian members have tested positive for the coronavirus, according to the NYPD. On Saturday, NYPD Detective Cedric Dixon, who also died of the coronavirus, was laid to rest by members of his family. Unlike standard police funerals, which are heavily attended by uniformed personnel, Dixon had only a few members of the force as pallbearers, according to the Detectives Endowment Association. Although our beloved Detective Cedric Dixon was laid to rest today solely by his loved ones, we'll forever be here for Cedric's family. Thousands will gather after we overcome this pandemic, the union said in a tweet. Administrators at New York City's Bronx Zoo said one of its tigers tested positive for the coronavirus. Nadia, a 4-year-old female Malayan tiger, was infected by a zoo employee who was caring for her and other tigers. She was asymptomatically infected with the virus or before that person developed symptoms, according to the Wildlife Conservation Society, which runs the zoo. The tiger's sister, Azul, 2 Amur tigers, and 3 African lions all developed a dry cough but were expected to recover, according to administrators. The other tigers living in the zoo's Tiger Mountain exhibit and the feline animals residing in other sections of the zoo haven't shown any signs of symptoms, administrators said. UK Prime Minister Boris Johnson was hospitalized as his symptoms from the coronavirus persisted, a Downing Street spokesperson said. This is a precautionary step, as the Prime Minister continues to have persistent symptoms of coronavirus 10 days after testing positive for the virus, the spokesman said in a statement. The office said that Johnson, 55, had a high fever and was admitted to the hospital on the advice of his doctor, not in an emergency. He will remain in contact with other British leaders while he awaits the results of his tests, the spokesman said. Boston Mayor Marty Walsh announced he will be enforcing a curfew for all residents who aren't non-essential workers starting Monday morning. The order, which will stay in effect until May 4, recommends that people stay inside between 9 p.m. and 6 a.m. in order to prevent the spread of the virus and crowding. We have been seeing too many unnecessary trips in the evenings and social distancing problems as people order and wait for their takeout at restaurants, Walsh said at a news conference. Several municipalities have issued coronavirus-related curfews including Mobile, Alabama. Walsh said that anyone leaving their home should wear a mask or face covering. If you don't pay attention to these guidelines, we are not going to have a summer, he said. Mayor Bill de Blasio said New York City bought some more days with its ventilator supply. Originally it was projected that the ventilators would be depleted by Sunday night, however the city has 135 ventilators in its stockpile, which would last until Tuesday or Wednesday, according to the mayor. De Blasio pleaded with the federal government to send more ventilators and other resources to New York's hospitals as soon as possible. Washington Governor Jay Inslee announced he would return 400 ventilators back to the national stockpile to help other states that need them. These ventilators are going to New York and other states hardest hit by this virus, Inslee said in a statement. I've said many times over the last few weeks, we are in this together. The governor said the state recently purchased 750 ventilators, which will arrive in the next few weeks. For the fifth time in her reign, Queen Elizabeth delivered a televised message, reassuring Britons they will get through the pandemic. While we have faced challenges before, this one is different. This time we join with all nations across the globe in a common endeavor, using the great advances of science and our instinctive compassion to heal, she said. Outside of her annual Christmas address, Queen Elizabeth has talked to the nation 4 other times during her 68 years on the throne: the beginning of the Gulf War, Princess Diana's death, the death of her mother, and her Diamond Jubilee. I hope in the years to come everyone will be able to take pride in how they responded to this challenge. And those who come after us will say that the Britons of this generation were as strong as any, she said. Tune into ABC at 1 p.m. ET and ABC News Live at 4 p.m. ET every weekday for special coverage of the novel coronavirus with the full ABC News team, including the latest news, context, and analysis. New Jersey has ordered 20 refrigerator trailers that will act as temporary morgues, according to a report issued by the state, which was reviewed by ABC News. The order is to support a strategy to address the surge in bodies resulting from the COVID-19 pandemic, according to the report. The trailers will provide space for 1,600 bodies, the report said, and 5 trailers will be delivered on Friday, the report said. The temporary hospitals at Javits and USNS Comfort will have substantial beds available, the report said. Matt Hancock, the health minister, said the country's National Health Service currently has 9,000 ventilators and its target is double that amount. He urged residents to obey social distancing precautions. Italian health ministers released updated data on the country's coronavirus cases, and while there are 128,948 confirmed contractions, they said the numbers show hopeful signs. The new cases since yesterday were 4,316, which represented a 3.5% growth, the lowest percentage since the pandemic hit Italy. There were 525 new deaths reported in the country, bringing the overall death count to 15,887, according to health officials. Louisiana Governor John Bel Edwards warned that his state could run out of working ventilators by Thursday and ICU beds by next weekend. We hope we can continue a downward trend on the rate of transmission of new cases. That buys us a little more time, he said. Edwards reiterated that if more people stay at home, the date for the ventilator shortage would continue to be pushed back. However, he said the situation in the state is still serious. The majority of the deaths have occurred in New York City, where the number of COVID-19 fatalities surpassed 2,600. Cuomo said the total number of hospitalizations in the past 24 hours was also down to 574 from a high just 5 days ago of 1,412. He said the downward trend was partially a function of more people being discharged. He said 75% of the people who have gone into the hospital system have recovered and have been discharged. That is putting a tremendous amount of stress on the healthcare system, Cuomo said. You're asking a system to do more than it has ever done before, more than it was designed to do, with less. While the death toll in Spain from the coronavirus rose by 674 in a 24-hour span to 12,418 on Sunday, health officials said it was the lowest daily count of virus-linked fatalities the country has seen in 8 days. With a choir practicing social distancing and his aides, a few nuns and prelates spaced out in cavernous St. Peter's Basilica, Pope Francis led Palm Sunday service, telling young people specifically to feel called yourselves to put your lives on the line. Normally, Francis would have addressed his Palm Sunday remarks to the masses clutching olive branches and palm fronds gathered in St. Peter's Square. But due to Italy's stringent social distancing rules to blunt the virus that has ravaged the country, a more subdued service was held inside the basilica. Dear friends, look at the real heroes who come to light in these days. They are not famous, rich, and successful people, rather, they are those who are giving themselves in order to serve others, Francis said. Feel called yourselves to put your lives on the line. Do not be afraid to devote your life to God and to others, it pays. In an effort to support those on the front lines in the battle against the pandemic, some grocery stores in New York are creating express lanes for first responders. PSK Market, Foodtown, and Pathmark stores have already established the special first responder lanes and announced they will hand out $100,000 in gift cards to people who work in hospitals. Adams said he hopes the first responder supermarket express lanes will catch on across the state and nation. All first responders should simply be brought to the front of the line, says Adams. UK Prime Minister Boris Johnson tweeted his thanks to the British public for staying home and saving lives. Johnson himself is still in isolation after testing positive for the novel coronavirus on March 26. Yesterday it was announced that his pregnant fiancée, 32-year-old Carrie Simons, has been self-isolating after suffering from symptoms of coronavirus and has been in bed for the past week. Ravinder Bala, the mayor of Hoboken, New Jersey, announced in a statement that all employees of essential businesses still operating in the city are now required to wear face covers or masks while working. The directive, issued by the Hoboken Office of Emergency Management, came on the same day that New Jersey Governor Phil Murphy announced that New Jersey had suffered its worst day since the coronavirus outbreak began. The death toll in the Garden State has so far reached 846 with 34,124 positive cases reported. Today, the Hoboken Office of Emergency Management issued a directive requiring that all employees of essential businesses, including but not limited to supermarkets, pharmacies, and all restaurants and food establishments, wear a face cover and gloves while at work and serving customers, read the statement from Mayor Bala. Face covers can include a bandana or scarf, or similar material. Face masks are also permitted, however, N95 masks and other route PPE are urged to be left for medical professionals and first responders. ABC News' Josh Margolin, Clark Benson, Mike True, and Christine Theodorou contributed to this report.